There is not a prospect in the 2025 NFL Draft with a more bipolar skill set than Abdul Carter. On the positive side, he registered 12 sacks, led the nation with 25 tackles for a loss, has elite bend, a diverse arsenal of finesse moves that could help him dominate on Sundays. But on the negative side, he lacks the power to reach his full potential, is constantly falling on the ground. I question if he will ever be a complete pass rusher, which would render him unworthy of a top 5 pick. But, you know me, ELE, we'll start with the positive, and there's a ton of it. The Nittany Lions stands at 6'3", 252, according to Penn State's website, although I've seen that weight range anywhere from 251 to 259, depending on the site you're looking at. Size-wise, Carter is very similar to TJ Watt, who's 6'4", 251. While I project Carter as a full-time pass rusher, he did take 19% of his snaps off the ball, so a fifth of the time he was either in coverage or Penn State loved using him as a spy on third downs, where he was productive, showing lightning quick speed in the open field, and was especially dominant as a spy against Illinois. He rushes mostly from the offense's left, but will bump over to the right, and the Nittany Lions even used him as a 3-tech at times. They'd also put him over the center and rush him standing up. He was a very versatile player at Penn State. As a straight pass rusher, I want to start with that elite bend, and exactly what elite bend means. Off the edge, Carter is a run-the-ring pass rusher, meaning there's an imaginary ring lining the outside of the pocket. Carter's style is to beat the tackle outside to penetrate the inside of that ring to sack or pressure the quarterback. He's not going to try to run through you. He doesn't go inside much. He's trying to beat you to the edge, and his bend is what leads to his success. It usually comes into play around the edge because the offensive tackle is going to try to push you outside of the ring, so Carter has to bend down to one side to create a smaller surface for Donovan Jackson's strike. But here's where it really matters. A stiff pass rusher without bend is going to get pushed outside of the ring. But because Carter is so bendy, he can withstand Jackson's punch, he can still penetrate the pocket, and make the quarterback move off his mark. His bendiness is what makes his aim move, what's called a ghost move, super effective, and he even has multiple iterations off of it. Usually you see a pass rusher's bend when they're using speed to take the edge, but Carter uses his in a way I haven't really seen. It's never just speed, he always uses a ghost. The ghost move is using what looks like a power bull rush, where Carter would be running right at the tackle, so Mason Murphy has to stop his feet and brace himself for all of Carter's 251 pounds. But this is where the freaky part of Carter's game comes in. He doesn't bull rush Murphy, and look at how he shrinks the surface area he can be hit, and bends around practically untouched to sack the quarterback. He can create extra moves off of his ghost move too, so it's not just the same every time. Check this 2-play example where he uses the same exact move as the USC play we just saw, but I want you to watch what the threat of power does to Savion Byrd compared to PJ Williams. Byrd is taking tiny little kick steps because Carter's coming right at him. But on the other side, PJ's taking massive steps to cut off Danny Dennis Sutton, who's threatening more of this edge with speed. You can also see the difference between Carter and Dennis Sutton's bend, no disrespect to the latter, but there's a giant difference in bendability, which is a major reason why Carter's projected as a top 5 draft pick. Then on the very next play, he hits almost the same move, but with a slight variation. When Byrd kicks out a little further and is now ready for some form of the ghost, Carter still ghosts him again, but now has to deal with Byrd's arms, because he's more prepared since he just saw the same move a play ago. Carter adds on a swipe move to knock away the hands, then a rip move to break Byrd's contact, and finishes with a pressure. Another huge part of his game is how smart he is. There are many different examples of him reading formations, tendencies, splits of the offensive line or receivers, and making plays thanks to his smarts instead of his physicality. There's an old adage that Y off will lead you to the ball, and Carter does his homework. Here he sees tight end Cade Eldridge off the ball, meaning behind the line of scrimmage, so Carter's going to follow him. USC is running GY counter with the G guard and Eldridge pulling, and Eldridge's job is to wrap through the line of scrimmage to block Carter, but he's too fast and swipes him away. Then later in the game, it's the same concept. The guard is going to kick out the end, and Eldridge is going to wrap through the line right after him. But watch Carter. He again follows Eldritch and makes a big play from the other side of the ball. Lastly, on my list of positives, one thing I check for elite edge prospects is whether they're consistently double-teamed. Pause. And Carter often is. When you're studying film, you want to make sure college offenses are game planning to put extra bodies on the elite edge prospect, because if they aren't in college, they definitely won't in the NFL. Now, we'll transition to what I don't like about him. There are several issues, but the main thing is his complete failure to use power in his rushes. Like, at all. With all his ghost moves and combos off of him, if you don't have power, the tackle can just set outside and extra cut off the edge, exposing his pads for you to bull rush, but if you don't have that in your arsenal, you're screwed. Ideally, you're reacting in the moment to whatever the tackle's giving you, and then you do the opposite. He sets quickly outside to cut off speed, you hit him with power and push him straight back. He hunkers down in one spot to take on your bull rush, that's when the ghost and bend around the edge move works perfect. But without one, the other won't work against NFL caliber linemen. His ghost move is that good that it'd still work against Amon Joy Stevenson from northern Boise, southern states. In college, he didn't need to set up the move. But the NFL is a different beast, and for me, his lack of power is a major concern. Another problem area is his bad hand placement and bad leverage. He starts from an upright 2-point stance, and he struggles to get low so he can create power in his lower half that he can transfer to his upper half. His hand placement is inconsistent, where you want to get them right into the center of the tackle's pads here, and we'll see more hand placement stuff in a sec, so these tackles can easily take advantage of him and force him to the ground. And speaking of which, I've honestly never seen an elite pass rush prospect spend as much time on the ground as Abdul Carter. An old scouting adage is that good players are never on the ground. It speaks to their lack of awareness, contact balance, leverage, and strength, and Carter is repeatedly on the ground. He isn't a small edge rusher, but he isn't a big one either. And the fact that he already relies on finesse moves are any move where you're trying to get around your man, that includes hand counters too. Then power moves would be bull rushes and clubs trying to get through him. Carter is already a finesse guy, and when you add that he's getting bullied on the field, I'm worried. This compounds with his lack of counter moves. Really, his ghost bend package is elite, and that's what's enticing about him. But he can't beat you up the middle with power, and he also can't beat you inside, except for his spin move that's ineffective and premeditated. A spin move needs to be used when the tackle is oversetting outside for your speed move, or at times when he's hunkering down for the bull rush, but Carter decides to use it before the play starts, not as a reaction, and he'll even use it before setting it up, which completely defeats the point of a counter. The last problem I have with him is his poor hand placement, where he struggles to use his hands as an effective counter, when it's supposed to be one of his strengths as a finesse rusher. This is a play where he badly needs to bull rush the tackle, dude's just keeping his hands down, just daring Carter to smash him in the chest and force him straight back. But Carter doesn't have that in his toolbox, so he swipes at anything, gets worked, and is thrown around like a ragdoll. When he's not using his ghost move, he does struggle to take the edge. You can see him start to get to the edge, forcing the tackle to shoot his arm. But instead of connecting with either the tackle's shoulder, his elbow, his wrist, the weak points that you're trying to contact as a pass rusher to soften this edge, Carter can't do anything, which exposes his chest and takes him out of the play. Abdul Carter has been compared to another number 11 who played at Penn State, Micah Parsons. There's a whole list of great 11y Nittany linebacker Lions, but I don't think Carter is in the same category. Going through Parsons' college tape, he was never on the ground, and he only rushed the QB 94 times in his final season, 9th most on Penn State that year. Parsons was much more of a projection because of his pass rushing inexperience, so you could say the same about Carter. He's elite in ways, but he still needs to learn others. But I struggle to believe that he'll gain a ton of power in the NFL and will learn a bull rush off the bat, especially at a relatively smaller height and weight. There have been extremely successful NFL players at his size who were way less productive in college. so it's not crazy. But if I'm taking him 2 or 3 overall, it's just hard to justify that based on how I have him graded. He does have elite parts of his game, and when you watch his best plays, he jumps off the tape. Abdul Carter has great tools, just not all the tools you'd like to see. If he develops and creates power, his ghost move will become all time.